Thank you, Marielle, and welcome everyone. And I am really excited to share with you property management and the AI revolution, optimizing operations in the digital age. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Marcy Kravit. I'm the Director of Community Association Relations for Hotwire Communications. I have over 20 years experience managing associations. I am contributing writer to the Florida Community Association Journal, a published author of Common Sense Community Management, and I'm also an adjunct professor at Palm Beach State College, and I teach the PCAM pre-license course. So let's get started. Can you see my screen, Marielle?
Yes, we can. No, we cannot yet. We just see you.
Okay, just want to make sure that I'm sharing my screen. Bear with me while we get that rolling. Okay, how are we doing now?
There you go, all set.
Fantastic. All right, so what is AI? And I got to tell you, being a technology enthusiast, someone that has utilized technology in my associations when managing, I also forgot to mention, I'm also vice president of my board of directors. So I'm always looking for innovative ways to utilize technology. And we're going to talk about what is AI in property management. And AI, artificial intelligence, refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think and learn like humans. In the context of property management, AI can be used to automate and optimize various processes, leading to improved efficiency and decision-making. Okay, so as managers and board of directors, you are the unsung heroes of the community association industry. You play an important role in making the experience great for your community. I hope you find that this information is helpful and resourceful, and it will show you how to navigate the waters in AI. Here are some of the course learning objectives that we're going to go over today. Understanding the evolution of property management with the integration of technology. You're going to gain knowledge of artificial intelligence and its core functionalities and explore how AI is transforming property management practices. Discover how AI automates your routine tasks for increasing your efficiency, and learn how AI optimizes preventative and predictive maintenance. Identify tools and platforms that utilize AI in property management, and understanding the benefits of embracing AI. Don't be afraid of it. I know when Google first came out, that was amazing. Well, and everyone is at the point where like, what are we doing with this? This is amazing. I mean, I remember the days of encyclopedias. To gain information, we had all these books. Well, now we can embrace AI to help provide us information and explore various strategies for implementing AI-driven solutions. Mark Cuban had a quote that really was interesting, and I find it very true. He said, if you don't know AI, you're going to fail, period, end of story. So don't be afraid of it. And let's get into the whole overview of AI. So AI fundamentals, overview of the AI revolution. So as we see, AI is used to enable machines to perform specific tasks without explicit programming. The machine empowers them to think, learn, analyze data, identify patterns, and make decisions akin to humans. So let's talk about machine learning. So there's algorithms that allow computers to learn from data, and they make predictions or decisions without being explicitly programmed. Then there's what's called neural network, and those are computing systems inspired by the structure and function of the human brain, and they're used for pattern recognition and classification tasks. Then there's something called NLP, which is natural language processing, AI techniques that enable computers to understand, interpret, and generate human language. And then there's robotics, AI-driven machines capable of performing tasks autonomously or semi-autonomously. So automation, a lot of accounting systems in property management are now automated. About 86% of accounting tasks could be automated, enhancing efficiency and accuracy. I remember the old days when we had to do bookkeeping with paper and pencil. AI will reduce data entry errors. It'll speed up your accounts payable processes. It can improve your financial processes. Now, AI is projected to contribute 13 million to global economic growth by the end of the decade. Establishing appropriate protections is critical to manage potential risks and maximize benefits. I also want to mention that there are legal ramifications if you are using AI to provide legal information. Always check with your attorney. Job transformation, about 80% of American jobs may see at least 10% of their tasks altered by AI, which nearly 20% experiencing at least 50% task alteration. So as a property manager, you're going to find, as I go through this presentation, a lot of tasks that you're doing manually, you're going to be able to do through AI. And it's going to have a significant impact on your job, your role, and your responsibilities. So what is ChatGPT? So it's interesting to learn about ChatGPT. If you haven't experimented with it, it's reaching about 1 million users within 5 days of the release is what it calculated to be, and more users are being introduced to ChatGPT, and it's grown to surpass over 180.5 million users. It's widespread. It's being used across the world. So ChatGPT, what is it? Well, it was built by OpenAI, which was a research laboratory for both nonprofit and profit branches. And at the time of its founding back in 2015, OpenAI received funding from Amazon Web Services, Infosys, and YC Research, and investors, including Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. Musk has since cut ties with the company, while Microsoft provided $10 billion in funding for OpenAI in 2023. The base version of ChatGPT is free, so there's no reason why you can't test it out and take it for a test drive. Transforming property management. So let's talk about the benefits of AI in transforming your property, revolutionizing your property. So some of the challenges that you have right now are manual processes, such as collecting maintenance fees. If those of you are still collecting maintenance fees manually, handling maintenance requests manually, managing sale or lease transfers, as well as architectural review forms, those are often performed manually. If you're with a management company, most likely a lot of those are automated and are using AI. The manual process can result in inefficiency and an increased larger number in errors. Lack of data analysis. So property managers face challenges in gaining those valuable insights from their data without the use of AI and data analytic tools. That limits or hinders sometimes your strategic decision-making, and you're unable to optimize your property's performance. Then you have inefficient communication. Traditional property management practices often involve manual communication methods like phone calls and emails. These methods can result in delays. Okay, so let's talk about how we can streamline those tasks and increase efficiency, those routine tasks, maintenance requests. And in property management, AI refers to the use of technology to automate and optimize those processes. So we can increase your efficiency, automate those routine tasks such as collections and maintenance requests. There's softwares that help with that, also to reduce costs. You can reduce utility costs and your carbon footprint. optimize energy use. We're going to talk about predict maintenance and how apps can also monitor and reduce breakdowns and minimize the downtime. You can optimize your energy consumption. So AI can really help you in your condo or HOA. There's also algorithms that can analyze large volumes of data to identify trends and patterns. You can identify the trend of whether you're seeing a large number of units going up for sale. You can monitor what the sale prices are. Property managers can make a data-driven decision for marketing, pricing, and resident satisfaction, and also on project management. So unlocking advantages for effective management, efficiency overload, freeing up the manager's time for greater productivity with tasks flying off your desk. I know when I was managing, it was constant, especially during the season. And now that we're in budget season, AI can help improve your efficiency, and you'll look like a superhero saving the day once you learn how to use AI. Enhanced transparency. There are ways that you can draft newsletters and email blasts by utilizing AI, promoting transparency and providing your residents with clear communication, which also builds trust within your community. And you can also elevate your resident experience by having them pay their dues online. They'll be able to, you can automate all the maintenance requests, and you can also include chat bots, which 24/7, your residents will have access to frequently asked questions and they'll receive answers. So imagine a world where managing your condo or HOA is a breeze. Thanks to the power of AI. It's just not for sci-fi movies anymore. It can really transform your community. So tailored property management platforms for HOA and condo management really can add a blend of enjoyment and practicality for your community to make it interesting and make it more interactive. So one of the items that you can set up is a resident portal. The residents can have access 24/7 to important information. They'll be able to submit those maintenance requests, pay their dues, and communicate with management all in one portal. Maintenance management, streamline the maintenance workflow, your staff tasks, the work order system, scheduling preventative maintenance and tracking when equipment is due for maintenance, and keeping your community in that top-notch shape that you're aiming for. And also keeping costs down, expanding and optimizing the life of your equipment. Financial tools is another feature of property management that can help improve your association. There are so many new softwares out there to help support you as a manager in budgeting, accounting, invoicing, and tracking those dues payments, ensuring your finances are in ship-shape order. And say goodbye to paperwork. I'm sure a lot of you are saving your documents in the cloud and that you have your governing documents saved. This is also a form of utilizing AI. What about your meeting minutes and your vendor contracts? It's also part of the AI system that you can set up through many softwares, and which will make management a breeze. And then reporting and analytics. So you can generate reports through AI and also surveys and resident satisfaction. Let's go on to the next slide. All right, so here are some case study examples of other associations on the west coast of Florida that decided to implement AI in their processes and adding platforms. So the Palms of Sarasota, they included an AI chatbot for questions. So 24/7, those residents had access. Then what happened was they had 30% reduction in calls and emails to their management office because those frequently asked questions were answered by an AI chatbot. And they collected data on frequent requests. So they were able to see what the frequently asked questions were through the chatbot. Then there's the Bayside condominiums. They installed smart thermostats. And think about it. Nowadays, you really need a reliable internet connection in order to be able to utilize all of these devices. And you have to have a strong Wi-Fi signal. Well, they were able to utilize AI through their smart thermostats and integrate their energy management system in automating all their devices. So they optimize their heating and cooling based on occupancy and the weather patterns. So they had a 15% decrease in energy consumption, and they lowered their resident bills. Then the Lakeside Estates HOA, AI-powered predictive maintenance was implemented, and they had a 20% reduction in maintenance costs. And those predictive maintenance apps are available. And like I said, they will minimize the downtime and optimize the life of the equipment for all of your maintenance items. So here we have the Village Green HOA, and they had a personalized resident portal powered by AI, which increased resident engagement and satisfaction. So let's go on to the next one. AI tools for property management. There's just so many tools out there. You've got ChatGPT platform. You have what's called Gemini, which is Google's AI platform. You have something called Nova app, Copilot. You have Stan AI, and you also have easymgt.com. And all of these platforms, it's going to help you manage your community, essential information, and be able to generate certain documents that you need or maintain those documents. So we talked about financial management, making every penny count, expense tracking, legal automation. And I always say, check with your association attorney. Drafting and reviewing agreements. Don't use AI for that. I always say that it's better to utilize your attorney for that. And regulatory compliance. Now, AI solutions help property managers stay updated on regulatory changes and ensure adherence to legal standards, but there are legal ramifications if you don't check with your attorney because it's not always accurate. Yes, there are benefits in utilizing AI, and it can help support you, but always rely on your association attorney. So automating things can reduce the risk of human error in financial and legal processes, enhancing compliance and minimizing legal liabilities. So it's really great if you can automate some of your processes and your workflows to improve and accelerate your tasks, such as invoicing, management, regulatory reporting, and improving operational efficiency. There's other softwares that you can use. There's Vantaka, Sync, Door Loop, Condo Control, Buildium, Pay HOA, Yardi, AppFolio. There's so many property management softwares out there. In fact, I was at the CAI conference out in Las Vegas. And of course, being a technology enthusiast, I got to visit with all of the technology booths. And here we have sponsored is ONR and Easy Management. And what they're doing is amazing, utilizing AI to help support you as a property manager. So let's talk about security. Well, AI-powered security surveillance systems can monitor your common area and also detect any suspicious behavior, alerting security. There's apps that can be used when there's motion, it will alert you. There's also what's called facial recognition technology for access control systems now. That will help enhance your security and ensure that only those that are authorized guests can enter through your community. So that will reduce the risk of any unauthorized entry. And then you have AI-controlled smart home devices and the IoT, which a lot of people don't know what that is. It's the Internet of Things enabled amenities, which can also enhance convenience and comfort for your residents, offering features such as automated lighting. I know I can turn my burglar alarm off remotely. That's all generated by AI. You can also automate your say you know you're having a party and you have a ballroom and you want to make sure that the temperature is lowered. You don't even have to drive to the property. Remotely, you can adjust the thermostat, knowing that you're going to be having a party at 7 o'clock and maybe you want to start cooling down the room at 5 p.m. So having remote access to these systems is part of AI. And there's also energy management systems, which can, like we spoke about earlier, can optimize energy usage in your common areas, reducing costs and the environmental impact, making it comfortable for your residents and keeping your costs down. So let's talk about predictive maintenance. So predictive maintenance is going to help saying goodbye to surprises. How many of you on a Friday at 4 o'clock have had a situation where something breaks or perhaps maybe you had no idea that there was going to be any type of issue because you didn't realize that you had like a variable speed drive that wasn't functioning properly. Well, AI-driven predictive maintenance systems will analyze, and you can install sensors on all your equipment, and you can protect your equipment for any type of potential issues before they escalate. So this is being proactive, and it's going to help you as a property manager minimize your downtime and any costly repairs. So there's IoT, Internet of Things sensor data, and those sensors can be installed to monitor equipment performance, environmental conditions, and any structural integrity issues, providing real-time insights into property conditions. You can also maintain the data on any past maintenance activities or repairs and equipment performance, and it will also help you with an algorithm in the scheduling of your maintenance. And then resident reported issues and feedback provide valuable input into maintenance prioritization and scheduling decisions, which is also part of predictive maintenance. And then weather forecasts, market trends, regulatory changes are considered in predictive maintenance models to anticipate maintenance needs and optimize schedules. So from high-rise elevators to single-family home lawns, AI keeps everything running smoothly to avoid those costly breakdowns and improve your efficiencies. Predictive and preventative maintenance is a key feature influenced by AI for your association. Before I get into administrative tasks, I also want to talk about some energy management solutions. By deploying an AI-based energy management solution, you can optimize energy usage. In other words, AI can be a game changer for your irrigation system, and it can transform the way you maintain your landscape. How many times have you been driving past a community and it's raining and you see that the irrigation is running at the same time while it's raining? Well, what a waste of water. If you have an AI-powered sensor hooked up to your irrigation system, just think about how sustainable that is. That smart irrigation system can also track, automate, and analyze your water consumption. It can also help you detect leaks, reduce waste, and give you timely alerts of any potential problems. So those smart irrigation systems will help leverage also any type of situations before they occur, and they can also monitor soil moisture levels. So let's talk about administrative tasks. So this is probably one of my favorites when it comes to utilizing AI. Email management. So you can generate written communications for various purposes to support management on the administrative side. So email management, you can streamline and filter messages and craft different types of responses utilizing AI, calendar management, data entry management, document formatting and editing, research assistance, meeting support, task tracking and reminders, HR support, and project management. These are just a few administrative tasks that that ChatGPT can help you with. You can actually create an announcement, a job description, a performance review, a form, a screening application, your meeting agendas, your notices, requests for proposals, standard operating procedures, and any type of specifications, your architectural control information, your bid requests, document formatting, proofreading, and also editing. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. So it's about prompts. Now, ChatGPT, the only way you can really utilize ChatGPT to the fullest is if you understand and learn how to use prompts. And what are prompts? Well, here are some specific tips for writing effective prompts in ChatGPT. And by the way, there are so many cheat sheet prompts for ChatGPT. Just Google it and you'll find those cheat sheets. There's ChatGPT beginner's cheat sheet, and you can learn how you can draft the information in the ChatGPT search bar. It's just like utilizing Google by making sure that you give the who, what, when, why, where, and understand that if it's garbage in, it's going to be garbage out. So the who, what, where, when, why. So be specific. The more specific you are, the better ChatGPT will understand what you really want. And then add relevant context to your prompts and use multi-step prompts. Break down the complex query into smaller parts and then specify whether you want the response in the first, second, or third person. Specify whether you want a list, a paragraph. Do you want it to include bullet points or any other format? Provide examples, give examples, and then include the length of the response. Do you want it to be a paragraph? Do you want it to be just a few sentences? So basically what you want to do is tell ChatGPT what you want it to generate. Say it is a newsletter and you want to include the minutes of your meeting. You want to include committee updates. You want to include everything that's happening in the building. Well, you're going to specifically, you could actually copy and paste the minutes in ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to create a newsletter and provide updates on all the committees. And you can generate a newsletter that way, but it's all going to be about what you put in. So be specific and let ChatGPT know that you want to generate a newsletter. Say you want to generate a job description for a maintenance person. Include all the information that you want to include in that job description and ask ChatGPT to create the job description for you. So getting back to energy management and saving the planet. So I talked about optimizing energy and using smart lighting controls, especially in high rises, those irrigation systems, and utilizing them in your common areas to monitor your utility consumption and help reduce your energy costs. So looking to the future. Before we do that, I want to talk about leak mitigation. I can't tell you how many times I wish I had what they have available now. And those are water leak detection sensors. This technology is also powered by AI, and you can proactively mitigate any water leaks as they occur, transforming your property's water-related risk management strategy by utilizing an artificial intelligence leak detection technology. Leak detection leverages artificial intelligence water management solutions that detect and stop leaks at their source. The technology offers real-time monitoring to accurately identify leaks and water waste, and it can mitigate any damages. How many claims have you put in for water leaks? I can't tell you how many leaks I've had to mitigate in my career. If I only had the power of AI with a proactive leak mitigation system, I mean, leaks cause significant damage and it can disrupt your entire operations. So this type of solution, you can also have a leak detection system that can automatically shut off valves, believe it or not. So you'll have less insurance claims and lower your premiums and your deductibles. So AI-powered algorithms can really automatically generate inspection schedules based on historical data. And it can also provide you with property specifications and what the maintenance requirements are. Say you're unsure about what are the maintenance requirements on a particular component in your property. You can ask ChatGPT to also provide you with a maintenance schedule. Those machine learning algorithms can really analyze it and helping you in monitoring the data and detecting patterns and trends. Preventative maintenance is so important in our business. So using AI, leveraging these technologies can really streamline your processes and improve your efficiency. So many of us have smart home devices, talking about looking to the future. And I mean, how many of us have robot vacuums? How many of us have appliances that tell us when we need eggs? That is all powered by AI. Smart home automation. The integration of the Internet of Things devices for remote monitoring and control of various aspects of property management, such as temperature, lighting, security. So I went over that. Energy efficiency, we talked about how we can adjust the settings, predictive maintenance with sensors, machine learning, tenant screening. You can actually streamline your tenant screening process. And in some properties, if you're in a rental property, I know we do get some people, you can analyze credit scores, rental history, and other relevant factors, and determining whether the tenant is eligible for leasing a unit. Maintenance optimization. I talked about machine learning algorithms and how you can optimize maintenance schedules by predicting equipment failure. Automation can streamline routine tasks such as rent collection, lease renewals, and enhancing your customer experience. I mean, let's face it, we're in the service business. We want to make sure that our residents are satisfied. So we can automate timely updates and reminders and personalized notifications. I can tell you that years ago, I used Outlook, and that was the way I was able to track all of my preventative maintenance. And I would set up reminders in Outlook and I would calendar things. And that was the only way I could do it. There's so many apps now that can help you track all of your preventative maintenance schedules. So automation can generate real-time reports and analytics, enabling you as a manager to make data-driven decisions for better performance and profitability. How many of you are going through the reserve study, the SIRS, the Structural Integrity Reserve Study, and having inspections done and determining how much money you need for reserves? Well, AI is going to help support you in determining and tracking how much money you need and what funds are going to be required for the future. So, in a nutshell, AI isn't just a buzzword, it is a game changer for community associations. And by embracing it, not being afraid of it, you can really create a more efficient, engaging, and sustainable environment for your residents. So I was going to see if I could access ChatGPT and show you an example of what it does. So let's see if I can get on ChatGPT, and then I'll be able to share my screen with you to give you an example of how it is going to help support you.
And Marcy promised me she's not going to take a picture of me and put a Yankees hat on because I am a Mets fan. If she does that, I will never ask you back for a webinar again.
Well, that's great that you're a Mets fan because my daughter's middle name is Shay.
All right.
And my
And
husband
I'm kidding.
actually,
I'm kidding, of course, about asking you back, but just don't put a Yankee hat on me, please. Okay.
so Jeff, why don't you give me an example of, say, like, do you want me to ask ChatGPT for, say, a job description or a newsletter
All right.
or
Let's
something
say,
specific?
let's ask ChatGPT to put a job listing out for an experienced maintenance technician with previous general contractor experience working with a high-rise condominium in the state of Florida. And you see, folks, I know that sounded long and drawn out, but the more detailed you get with your description when you enter it into the ChatGPT field, the better result you're going to get. So it's like Marcy mentioned earlier, it's always best to mention as much as humanly possible so that its algorithms can come up with something as detailed as possible. And then you can make it your own after that.
Wow, very powerful. I think rather than share the screen, because it's a lot of, would it
A
be
lot of
best
text.
for me to copy and paste it and put it in the chat? What's the best way I can show you
Either one.
what
Either
came
one.
up?
Either one. And
Okay.
folks, if you don't see the chat area, click the chat button at the bottom of your Zoom interface, and then the chat area should show up on the bottom right-hand corner if you do not yet see it. So go ahead and do that. Kelly, you're welcome. I see your and again, remember, with everything Marcy mentioned about websites and AI, always consult your association counsel, even if you get an answer from your manager, because managers in most cases are not attorneys, and doing something incorrectly now can cost you a boatload of money later.
Okay, so I'm trying to do copy paste, but it's not working.
It may
So
not,
what
because
is
the chat only allows so many. Just go ahead and start reading. Read the first couple of paragraphs. You don't have to read the whole thing. The chat in Zoom only allows so many characters. So if you try doing more than what's allowed, Kelly, I know chat is disabled, but we can send chats to you. You just can't send chats to us.
Okay. So unless I share my screen, if you want, I can do that.
That'll work
It
too. Go
just,
ahead. You could just change the share.
okay.
And somebody asked, what would be an approximation of setup costs for AI applications, human hours to program? There are many apps out there. I answered somebody in the Q&A earlier, so you can look at some of the answered questions in the Q&A. Somebody had asked me, how do you pay for AI? Is it individual or a package? And my answer was, there are free versions to try. Then there are annual fees for several different apps out there with additional features. For example, I use one that propagates several different features not available on its free version, such as creating images like me with a damn Yankee hat on, or social media content versus article style text. The one that I personally use, it costs me next to nothing. It's like $30 a year. So.
I wanted
Do
to
you
add
see my
something.
screen now?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
see
we
it.
do see Marcy.
Okay, fantastic. So I went ahead and I put create a job. I typed really fast. I hope I captured everything. And excuse my typos, but create a job listing for an experienced maintenance technician with previous experience working in a condo in South Florida. So here we are at chatgpt.com. This is the free version, and
Right.
produced experienced maintenance technician, location, South Florida, full-time, salary competitive based on experience. And here you have the entire job description with the key responsibilities, which I didn't even ask it to do that, the qualifications, the benefits, and how to apply. How easy was that? So if you're
Simple.
not
And then you go
using
ahead
it,
and then you go ahead and customize and make it your own, you know?
so I would say the same thing. Use it as a foundation, as a baseline, and modify it for your use. And it's great as a resource, just like Google. And I can tell you that I took a trip to Georgia last year in the mountains, and I plugged in create an itinerary for 5 days in Ellijay, include restaurants, activities, hiking, locations, even hotels, and boom, it just generated my whole itinerary for
Yeah.
my trip. So in
That's
property management,
cool.
like Mark Cuban said, if you don't know AI, you're going to fail, period. End of story.
Absolutely. At least
So
don't be afraid of it, you know. Don't let Terminator 2 scare you. It's not going to happen that quickly if it if it happens at all. The machines hopefully the machines are not going to attack. Don't be afraid of it.
So
Not on
here
this
it
level anyway, not on this level.
exactly. I mean, so here at Hotwire Communications, we utilize AI in so many ways, and we are so above and beyond, I would say, any other provider that I've worked for when I was working in the when I was working out in the field as a manager. I mean, we were the first to provide a gig. We now provide 10 gigabyte speeds with no data caps through an end-to-end fiber optic infrastructure. And we own, operate, and install our own fiber. And we really deliver custom tailored programs and solutions specifically for community associations. So we are the 11th largest cable company nationally. So I would say make sure that whatever you do, you have a reliable internet provider and supporting all of your Internet of Things, like your surveillance
Absolutely.
cameras and all of your equipment. So now's the time for Q&A.
Some
So
Q&A, and I'll be happy to read a couple of them to you. And first, I want to explain that George posted a great point, all right? That we posted a link that on how different organizations interpret the laws differently and sometimes incorrectly. And I did that on purpose because I always premise everything, always at just like I mentioned 5 minutes ago, always get the opinion of your association counsel, because when organizations go to the Florida law and they interpret the law, or they take a date that was proposed before the governor signed something and post it on their website, and then the law is different and they forget to go back to their website and change a date when something goes into effect, for example. Always consult with your association counsel. Always, always, always. And if you're a manager and you're talking with your boards of directors and other folks within the community, whether they're on the board or not, just homeowners, just be careful what you say. So many things are so legal in nature, and you don't want to get yourself or your boards into trouble. So George, great point, because they did get that date wrong. I saw that too. Marcy, one of the questions, which is really a comment, but is excellent for discussion. Great info so far. The challenge will be for those communities who are 55 plus and don't use the computer. I have my own thoughts. Marcy, how would you respond to something like that?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because years ago, when I was managing high rises, I brought to the forefront access control utilizing fobs. And my board looked at me like I was an alien on another planet. I had to, and you can even use ChatGPT, talk about the pros and cons of utilizing fob access control versus QR codes and scan tags or whatever you need to get the facts. Ask ChatGPT, and that will help support you. But I always say what helped me, and I was always asking these companies, especially our sponsors, you can ask them, what other properties are you serving? Can I talk to their boards? Can I have my board speak to their board? And, change is tough. Even with our platform here, we have something that's called Fission TV Plus, and we have an entire Fission education department because the majority of our demographic, especially in the Palm Beach area, is our seniors, and they are afraid of technology. So I always say, talk to your constituents, talk to your fellow neighbors, talk, if you're with a management company, talk to the resources that you have in your management company, and get with other board members to give testimonials how they went through the change, because they're so afraid of change. But once they have it, like with the Hotwire system, they're like,
Yep.
why didn't we do this before? I mean, why were we so afraid of it? It's great. It helps. Like our community channel is a communication tool, and a lot of people love utilizing that. And they all say, this is great. We should have done this a long time ago.
Absolutely. And I want to strengthen your point, and I agree with you 100%. On the 55 and over aspect, let's remember when all this internet stuff started. I mean, we're talking back in the early 90s, okay? So I'm a couple of years away from being able to move into a 55 and over community, but we were part of what started this whole internet thing. So I'm not sure I kind of really buy that as a disadvantage, because it's this generation that began it. So yeah, it's kind of a transition. You have some folks that are well over 55 that may not be into it and that kind of a thing, but change has to happen somewhere. You can't be afraid of it. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind, just as Mark Cuban said in the quote that you mentioned a couple of times. But again, I have a hard time buying the 55 and over argument, because people in our demographic are the ones that started this whole revolution when you really think about it. So, and then it's the folks younger than us that are propelling it even higher and greater. So yeah, they're always going to be, even 20 years from now, there'll be a couple of people that don't have computers, but there are a couple of people that don't have cars either, so how do they manage? You figure out a way.
Well, and Jeff, I also want to add that I think there are a lot of people that are in that age demographic that are really interested in some of these new tools. And a lot of them, like ChatGPT, are very user-friendly.
Yeah,
You are literally
simple.
typing into a chat box, please generate X for me. And it should be a really, really helpful tool. So just a small learning curve could really change somebody's whole life. I also just quickly wanted to add, before we move on, the couple questions that we had about costs. And I think that there is maybe some confusion. You have AI applications, and Marcy's done a great job of explaining, but this is a big topic. So I want to just reiterate, there are AIs that are for more personal use, or even in your personal home. That could be things like smart home technology. Marcy mentioned leak detection, so that you don't have water damage in the morning, or when you leave for vacation. You have potentially even an app that alerts you because you have sensors that are monitoring that water. Even things like a toilet that could be flowing and wasting water that doesn't have a leak per se, but there are AI technologies that could alert you to those kinds of things. So you have personal things that may be for you as an individual, like ChatGPT. It can write emails for you, it can write descriptions, but then you have larger opportunities for AI that Marcy had mentioned. And those are things like energy management. And those could be a broader conversation within your boards to talk about things like implementing AI into a community clubhouse, where you could severely reduce or significantly reduce the amount of energy that's being spent in that clubhouse. You could monitor, and AI could tell you, hey, the use in this clubhouse is peak between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. So there are things to talk about in your boards, and just starting the conversations now as the technology is developing and becoming more and more available and appropriate and mainstream. And that's why we're having this kind of conversation. But of course, as individuals, there are a lot of really amazing application. So I just want to make that distinction. There are personal ways to use AI, and there are community ways to implement and utilize AI. And we're all just kind of learning together. So I want to make sure that people understand the cost basis will be depending on how you use an AI application.
And it's a great question to ask your service providers that you either already have, and we have several that work with ACE already, and others that you may think of hiring down the road. Do you use AI? How do you use it? What's your success? Essentially, you get the gist. Just to strengthen Mariel's point, which is fantastic, because I was looking at it from the personal use aspect based on how those couple of folks asked me the questions and asked us the questions in the chat. But there are so many applications that you're probably not even aware of that your service providers now are currently using, and you don't even know it.
You know, Jeff, we actually have a great video as well on the Resource Center about security technology as it relates to AI. There's so many different applications for AI. So,
but for a manager's use in like generating a document and saving time, like I said, I just plugged in create a sample newsletter and template for an HOA to include the following: committee reports, president's message, announcements, friendly reminders, and social events. And I don't know if you could see my screen, but it even created the president's message, which can be adapted. And then it gave, I mean, it gave like a summary of all the committees of what was going on and the announcements. And then it tells you what to insert, some friendly reminders, social events. It's great for that. And then
it's fantastic. And for that, folks, just what Marcy will continue in a second. That's the cheapo version. That's the version y'all can use right now to help make your lives easier.
And like I said, make sure that you go online and check the prompts. There are all these Chat GPT cheat sheet prompts. And then test out using Gemini and Copilot, because you might get a different answer from those, and they're also free. Microsoft Copilot also has an image generator. So if you're not very artistic and you need to generate an image through AI, you'll be able to utilize that feature as well.
Like putting a Mets hat on everybody. Yes.
It really
That's the last time I'll bring that up. But
and you know, nowadays AI is being used to generate communication and alter things. So that's one of the
that's an amazing point, Marcy. I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of you out here, managers for associations, organizations like ACE, we put things on YouTube. One of the new questions that YouTube asks when you upload a video to place on YouTube: does this upload depict altering of reality? And that has everything to do with AI.
Here's a PDF of a cheat sheet I put in the chat.
And while Marcy's placing something into the chat, let's get to some more of the questions. We have George asking about, as for having a website, what is to prevent an association from having a terrible, disorganized, confusing website, and simply saying to an owner who makes a record request, well, it's on our website, go find it.
Actually,
go find. This is the current version of, well, I'll just meet you at 10 a.m. next Wednesday at our storage shed, and you could just take all day to look in that messy, unorganized shed. And a lot of us have been there. A lot of us have done that. And this was another one of those broken record answers. I'm curious to hear what Marcy and Marielle and Lisa think. Consult with your attorney, because what the law says, it must be on a prominent side of the site. It must be easy to find. Well, what the hell does that mean? What the hell does easy to find mean? You know?
Well,
who's governing
that's
that?
where these AI generated resident portals, and I know that the softwares that are generated through our sponsors are able to give you, your residents, access to those documents. So they don't even have to come to your office. Everything is going to be on that portal within the AI generated software. And they make it so easy now that you let them go there as much as they want. You don't have to worry about having those face-to-face conflicts. No longer do you have to deal with those records requests.
Marcy, I want you to read Edie's, or Eddie, and if I'm mispronouncing it, I apologize. Eddie or Edie, please read that one. Can you see it, or would you like me to read it? because it's about Hotwire specifically. I'll read it to you. We currently have Hotwire Fusion as our provider in our COA. Is there a third-party consultative service for AI technology? And I'm guessing Eddie or Edie means within Hotwire.
Well, if they'd like, they can reach out to me or their account managers that's designated to their property, and we'll be happy to help. We'll be happy to steer them in the right direction.
Okay.
So
There
I
you
have
go.
a thought, Jeff, and it's just, I'm curious what you and Marcy, Marielle, how you all feel about this. You know, AI can do so much, and it's a little scary. So right on the other side of what it can do. So we're talking about all the positive uses and the productivity and time-saving aspects of it for us. But some of the new legislation about where and how we post information on our websites, and I know this has been brought up a little bit in the Q&A, but what happens? How do associations, HOAs, condo co-ops, how do we protect ourselves from having our information taken off our public website and used to commit fraud, right? So there's so much that can be done, and we have, right, fraudulent activity all the time. When I bought a piece of property here in Florida, the title company and the bank intentionally left off digits and numbers of different documents, and then a phone call had to be made, right, to fill in the blanks of what had been omitted intentionally. So I'm just curious how you feel about the new legislation, about posting documents and contracts and other things publicly versus just protected for residents and owners. Any thoughts?
I do, but Marcy, do you want to take that one first?
And of course, preface it all by saying, please speak to your association attorneys about all of this. It's just some of the things that technology can have unintended consequences.
Well, there's so much in cybersecurity and dealing with privacy, and there's ways that, and I'm sure Jeff, you build, you know, you're a technology guru. There's ways that you can password protect so only residents have access to that information, and
Right.
and that information would be secure. And there's ways that you can tell it. Like, I know we have 24/7 monitoring, and we can tell if somebody is doing something on the internet that they're not supposed to, and we can shut them down.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. But what I like to, back in the day when I was building websites for associations with more regularity, one of the things that we would mention is that it's not a matter of if someone tries to hack you. It's going to happen. Someone's going to try. It's going to happen. And it doesn't mean that any one person was necessarily targeted. Quick example, because we really want to get to the questions here, but a quick example is if somebody's email is compromised, then they get access to just an innocent, unknowing bystander. His or her email gets compromised. They get all of their contact lists, contacts. Then that company pretends to be somebody else on that contact list, maybe a vendor that you're using that you're familiar with. They send a mass email from that vendor that looks familiar to everybody in the association. That an email has an attachment. Somebody clicks on the attachment, boom, infection is underway. It doesn't mean that any one person was hacked or targeted. It doesn't mean that any one organization was targeted. It just happened from several different layers before it got to that point. So that's what I mean, that it says it's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's a matter of when it may likely happen. But again, it doesn't mean that they infected third party or end user was the one that was targeted. It could have come from somebody you have no idea who it was or familiarity with. But that's a whole nother class for a whole nother time, you know?
I was going to say, maybe it's time for me to draft the cybersecurity class.
Maybe it is.
And how to protect your association, because I had just written an article about that, and there's just so many ways. I mean, what these people do is they tap into they'll take like $1 out of your bank account just to test it to see if they can
Right.
get into your funds, and it's unfortunate. But getting back to AI and the questions.
So Diane has a question. Does condo management AI software draw info only from the data that you have stored or from both your data and the internet at large? Marcy, we have AI service providers with ACE. Maybe we can direct that question that way in the evaluation. So Diane, put that question into the evaluation and we'll make sure that our provider who specializes in your question can perhaps help you out and get you an answer there. I'll make sure they get the Q&A report. Shelley mentions we just lost our power and internet connection. We wanted to be sure that we got proper credit, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you'll get credit here. Don't worry about that. We use the Zoom attendance sheet for your applying credit. David asks, what would be the necessary fiber speed? Marcy, this is for you, to run AI on our condo HOA property of 309 units.
Well, we are starting out now at 300 megs, which is sufficient, and that should be sufficient for your association, especially because Hotwire has what's really fiber to the home and it's not shared. So you could start at 300. Of course, we'll be happy to give you more. We're offering up to 10 gigs, but unless you're conducting a data center, a customer call center in your home, I don't think you need that much.
Right. Yeah, the higher speeds are great, but Marcy is correct on there, as she usually is.
Well, thank you.
J. Michael, let's see. I just implemented HOA management software in our high rise. I asked AI what were the 20 obstacles and the 20 solutions to those obstacles of implementation of 55 and over. It was right on. So that's a nice comment to hear that it was spot on. Thank you for sharing that. Our friend Joe, if this was the Cheers bar, we would say, he would be a regular. We say, hey, Joe, welcome in. Jeff, this is okay. I know you keep saying consult with your attorney. What do you do if you get two different opinions from two different attorneys on the same question? One is our association's attorney, and that would be my answer. Go with your association's attorney. And the other is an acquaintance. Both are association attorneys. If a second opinion, Marcy, what do you think? If a second opinion is not going to cost you much, maybe get a second opinion, then compare and contrast and go that way. But if it were me, if I was the manager, I would go with my association counsel at that time. What do you think?
Yes, whoever is engaged that is on your payroll, that's the one you go with.
I would agree with that.
That's my recommendation. If you want to get a third opinion and you have the funds to go out and get the third opinion, maybe then you take the majority.
It's going to say,
And
you
if
can have anything you want in life if you pay for it. So
and if you can't trust your association attorney or you're not confident in their response, it's time for a new counsel.
That's a good point, Lisa.
You know, I mean, we all have to trust professionals, and our trusted advisors are the people that we go to help us navigate, right? This is all great, but our association counsel for all communities, right? They know the ins and the outs of the new legislation, the law, as it pertains to your documents. If your documents need to be updated, there's an endless, there are endless factors, and it's never a black and white answer, yay or nay.
Exactly. I mean, you could ask three attorneys, get three different answers, but go with the attorney that's familiar, like Lisa said, with your documents. If you've retained that attorney for many years, they have the corporate memory of how your association operates. Stick with them. They're the expert specifically for your community.
Yeah, so thanks for pointing all that out. And it's always great to go with firms that specialize in association law and association law only. Monique, Marcy, this was an awesome comment. I have your book on common sense community management. Thank you for this presentation. I have used ChatGPT, that's a tongue twister, ChatGPT for SOPs, and it is a great help. So thank you for that, Monique. And Marcy, that's wonderful to hear, I'm sure.
I love getting feedback about my book, and it's been 2 years this month since I released it. And to this day, I'm just so thrilled that so many people find it as a reference and a guide. And no, I did not use AI to write the book.
We know you did not. And the book is fantastic, and as are all of your articles in the Florida Journal.
Thank you.
Mateo, go with the attorney that has the Mets hat on. I will say Michael Bender is a Mets fan. So, all right. So Diane Davis, if our CAM, who serves numerous association clients, is still doing things the old-fashioned way with little automation, would we be better served by a different manager?
I say have the manager call me and I'll teach them how to use AI.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're just afraid of it. Maybe they need a colleague to show them the way. Because that's all it is. It's just like when, the seniors have trouble with the remote, they're like, wow, these are some huge buttons. What do I do? I mean, once we show them the way, they're like, oh, that was easy. So
Well,
unless the cam is super afraid of technology and just doesn't want to have anything to do with it. What do you think?
I would say I'm a visual learner. All right. So if I'm sitting here and I'm having just somebody explain to me something with words, I'm not as likely to grasp onto something as if somebody shows me examples. So maybe if you have a manager that is shying away from it or unwilling to at least give it a shot, maybe do something fun and cute. Find out what your manager enjoys in life. Maybe you find out your manager's a Mets fan. So you take a picture of your manager and then do an AI thing to put a hat on the manager and bring it over and say, hey, AI did this. Or joking aside, do a little demonstration in front of the manager with your phone and just show how cute and cool this thing could be. I mean, make a game out of it. Try to hit the personal side of your manager or your board members and find out what they like and maybe show them an example. I'm like, okay, maybe this could also work with our day-to-day operations. Just figure out creative ways. I know Tim is on this call. I used to work with Tim over on a property, and we had, before the current administrator over there who is into technology, we had somebody before that person who was very old school, and we had to physically or visually show this person, look what we can do. And sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes that's what it takes,
I can't tell you how many people that I know that were afraid of or didn't know how to scan a QR code like I have on my screen. And they didn't understand what the purpose of it was. And just something simple like that we find, because we're using it on a daily basis, it becomes routine. We need to get them to the point where they feel comfortable, where it's part of their routine day and their tasks.
Absolutely. Let's do a few more. Okay, we're going to do all the questions that are remaining, but new ones that come in after this point. We know it's getting late. And the evaluation link is in the chat. So we want you to hang out and listen and participate, but you're not required to now. You're going to get your credit if you've made it up to the, when we started the Q&A about 10 minutes before the top of the hour. So you're good to go if you need to run. Since you're saving time and effort as it will be automated, won't this start to eliminate the use of management companies or lower the management fees and cost savings, the association money? And I think I know the answer to that, but Marcy, you want to take that one?
I really don't see how it's going to lower the fees. I think management companies have more and more responsibilities now, more than ever.
Right.
When I managed, we didn't have all these new laws. If anything, it's going to help streamline some of those tasks and help support the management company. But I'm not part of a management company, but I can tell you, I have a management company managing my property, and I don't see my fees going down.
Nor will this technology cause the need to eliminate managers in the management companies, because managers and many board members, but managers in particular, are some of the busiest people on this planet. They're on call 24/7. On top of that, you have managers that are managing more than one property at a time. And one of the biggest complaints that I hear from residents of HOAs and condos who happen to have a portfolio manager as their manager is that this person does not spend enough time tending to their particular properties. Stuff like this helps to create more time for portfolio managers to tend to your properties. So this is not going to eliminate, in my opinion, the need for managers. It will actually help efficiency and create better attention for said properties. Does that make sense?
Definitely makes sense. And also, I want to shout out to Umberto Roque. Yes, I'll be happy to sign your book. I'll answer that question.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Kelly's asking, what is your website address? I'm guessing I'm guessing for Marcy's, and we have Marcy verbalized the website address, but it's also going to appear on the, when we end the webinar and also on the post-webinar evaluation screen. But Marcy, what is your website?
So for Hotwire, it's hotwirecommunications.com. And my personal is marcykravit.com.
There you go. Julianne asks, are we able to modify speed? And I'm guessing Julianne is asking about the different speeds of internet that Hotwire offers for homes and associations.
Like I said, there's different packages that you can purchase as a community and offer to your residents. And then they always have the option to upgrade if individually they would like to have a much faster speed than what the association contracted for.
All right.
I hope that answers the question.
Well, yeah, it certainly does. And you also touched upon earlier the different speeds are for beneficial for different things, such as streaming video versus just text and documents. You don't need top of the line speed for typing letters and data such as that kind of a thing. Marianne, I'm going to get your book. Thanks for this. Thank you, Marianne. Yuri has a great comment. Yuri works with one of our service providers with the ACE group over at Statewide, I believe, Statewide Security. As a fellow sponsor in CAM, your classes are amazing, very detailed and thorough. I look forward to more classes with you, Marcy. So thank you for that. And we're hoping to have one with you soon, Yuri. Hopefully y'all can do one sometime soon.
Well, thank you, Yuri. I can't wait to connect with you. And getting back to the speed, it's important that your provider gives you what's called symmetrical speeds and provides you with the upload and the download speeds that are symmetrical and the same. Because how many times have you had to wait for something to download and the speed is just like so slow? Or it should be the same. Like I said, 300, it should be 300 up, 300 down.
And not to mistake that, correct. I'm sometimes my fault is I get too nerdy. So I just stop myself from doing that. And I'll just stop the explanation that nobody will understand. So I just zipit.com. There we go. Annette asks, we have 3 more questions and then we're going to head out. I know Marcy has appointments and we're keeping her here. Is AI able to...
I love it.
Okay.
I just want to say to the audience, thank you, because this is a new class for me. And it's been a passion of mine to provide you with the tools that you need to help you succeed. So I hope that you came away with something today that can help you in your day-to-day, because I remember the days and the challenges of managing properties.
Yeah, same here. Hey, Annette asks, is AI able to narrow down who uses the most water in an apartment in a community of 6 buildings and 549 units? Can it show the exact apartment?
There are systems out there that can do all sorts of things. I know at one time there was a way to meter every single unit, which was extremely expensive. I'm not sure of who can do that, but I don't see why not.
May I suggest, I'm sorry, I just want to interject, and may I suggest, Jeff, that we pull that question particularly and who asked it, so that we can, Marielle's already left us, but Marielle works in commercial real estate tech. And she no doubt will have one, if not several, companies that the person asking that question could contact for more information. So that's a great question for Marielle.
All right, will do.
Fantastic.
Vanessa, yes, we will. Marcy's and her organization, Hotwire, will upload the CE credit. And let's see here, the last couple of questions. We have 3 different entities: condos, HOA, and Section 8 had under a master, have 3 different councils, but same management company that provide just to the condos and HOA, which does not include the master contracts. How can we manage? Marcy, I'm not quite sure I'm understanding what the question is.
3 different councils.
We have 3 different entities, and under a master, we have 3 different councils. I'm guessing you mean 3 different attorneys, but same management company that provide just to the condos and HOA, which does not include the master contracts. How can we manage? Manage what? How do you, are you looking for a website? Are you looking for, how do you manage what? If you can clarify, I'm not quite sure, and I'm not sure how we would answer that or even offer comment on that question. Thank you,
Not sure
Vanessa.
what the question is, if it's a general management question or what it has to do with AI and how AI can help manage the associations. I mean, I would recommend an AI-powered software that can manage for the master and the subs, if that's what they're asking. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, we're not quite sure, but in the evaluation, you can elaborate your question in the evaluation and we'll get it to the right person. Joel says, Marcy, as you may recall, I used to be senior fission educator before I retired, and I can confirm that if you put the tools in their hands and work with them, you will cure many fears. Yes.
Joel, nice to hear from you. Thanks for joining us. Yes, Joel is very well educated in understanding fission and Hotwire, and he's a former employee, and really glad to have him on the call. Thanks.
It's good to see your name. Yes, sir. I'm not sure I understand this. If the internet service is still available to those that have backup power, any reason to give credit to those that don't? I'm not sure what that means. We'll have to skip past that one there. You can elaborate in the evaluation. Vanessa, thank you for hanging out with us. We know you have choices. So thanks for choosing us. And the last one here is on your website. Can I find out if there are fiber optic lines in our community? And maybe this person is asking about fiber to the nodes or fiber actually to the door. Marcy, how would they find out?
They can send me an email with the name of the property and the address, and I'll be able to find out. I'll be happy to.
Wunderbar. All right.
It's marcy.kravit@hotwiremail.com.
Sounds great. Well, another great successful course with 300 or more people. Thank you so much, Marcy, for this presentation.
Thank you for having me, and thank you all for giving up your lunch hour to join me today.
And thank you for presenting. There are some folks that mentioned that I think what they mean is, okay, they lost their power and internet, but you came back. On the official Zoom attendance sheet, we can see who left and comes back. We know you made the effort. If you lose power and you're a manager, you'll still get your credit. Don't worry about it. We can tell, we can see on the Zoom sheet that it provides when your service drops out and you come back in. Don't worry about it. We're not unreasonable. And Marcy, didn't you write something about being reasonable? I remember an article on that. So there you go.
Of course, being fair and reasonable. I'm always fair and reasonable, and I'll make sure I get those credits uploaded. Give me some time. We had quite a turnout today.
Absolutely. So Marcy, one last time, thank you. Lisa, thank you for hosting this with Ace. Everything was wonderful. Any parting words before we head out for the day?
Just want to thank everybody for continuing to support our programs. All of our business partners and sponsors, they make it possible for us to bring you great presentations like this, Marcy. There's never a course that you put together that I don't raise my hand and say, I want that. Please come and present that to our community. Because your deep knowledge, not only in community association management, but in your ability to navigate people. The course you do on people, places, and community, right, is one of my favorite as well, because navigating community association relationships from all those different facets is so critically important to the success of everything. So, and in a world today where people find it more and more challenging to communicate, I greatly appreciate your ability to be clear, concise, and articulate with great clarity everything that you present. So you're always absolutely a joy, and we love having you. Thank you.
And you're always
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate the opportunity. For those of you who would like to see the video on managing people, property, and politics, you can review that on ACE by TSK. There's some good tips on there on bullying and how to handle managing people, property, and politics, and not the politics we're talking about in November.
Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about that.
No one wants to talk about that. All right.
All right. Well, thank you all. I really appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.
Make it a
You
great
too,
day,
Marcy.
everybody.
Thank you. And thank you, Jeff.
You as well. Thank you
Thank
both.
you, Jeff.
All right.